right. Hi, everyone. I'm here today, this afternoon, with Ali Amoroso, who is the founder of Rose Women's Foundation. And as you know, this trunk show, we're celebrating women artisans around the world and their economic empowerment, and then in turn, giving a portion of the proceeds of this trunk show to Rose Women's Foundation. And we just thought it was important for you all to just hear just about the vision behind this organization and just the wonderful things they've been able to accomplish in the time that they've been operational. So Ali, why don't we start with just a little bit about you, your background, kind of where you're from, just to get to know you a little bit better.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Tara. So my name is Ali Amoroso, and I'm originally from the Washington, D.C. area. I went to University of Virginia, and then I worked in corporate technology for a little while after college. But during school, I studied abroad in Kenya and absolutely fell in love with women and children and the missional call that I felt in my heart. So then after couple years, I moved to Kenya full time and started Rose Women's Foundation as a 501c3 nonprofit. And that is what I do today. I live in Nairobi full time, but obviously in these conditions, I am in America until it's safe to go back.
So what, could you tell us a little bit more about Rose Women's Foundation, just the foundational purpose, kind of the mission, and what you all do in terms of the women who are a part of it?
Yeah, absolutely. So Rose Women's Foundation was founded on the basis of empowering mothers to have an intergenerational impact and improve the lives of communities in extreme poverty and women's children. And so we started in 2016. I went on my study abroad and started just as a group of 150 women that I had interviewed in the slums of Nairobi. I was studying social entrepreneurship because I just couldn't understand how mothers living in extreme poverty, living on less than $1.90 a day, living in tin sheet huts with no running water, no sewage. I mean, they had to pay 50 cents to go to the bathroom. I mean, these people were starving, and I just didn't understand how they survived. So I did a needs assessment for these moms, and we found that none of them had a formalized education beyond primary school. They were living in just extreme poverty, and we decided to start 10 small businesses to economically empower them so that they could support the education of their children and improve their lives. So fast forward, today we have a women's entrepreneurship, an accelerator program for micro enterprises, where we provide Christian-based micro business skills. So teaching a mother to start a new business. So taking it from the idea stage, actually turning it into a profitable business that can employ other women in her community, and put into place real savings measures and bank accounts and registrations, and legitimizing a woman's dignity in her community. And it's just been amazing to see how empowering a woman in extreme poverty has such an exponential return in terms of the children that get to go to school. I mean, on average, these women have 5 kids. And so you raise a mother's income by 50% to 200%. And now all of her kids get to go to school instead of just her oldest boy. So it's been an amazing journey. We've supported over 250 women entrepreneurs so far to start and grow small businesses. And today, right now, we have 50 that we're actively working with in our training programs and our micro investments and children's education. So that's the gist.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing. That is really incredible. I love that the program really teaches life skills. It's not just necessarily employing them, but teaching them how to run the business and financially manage things. I think that's so important, just for, the effort to be long term, or for some reason they branched out on their own or whatever, they have the skills and the tools to just keep going and to continue to have that business be sustainable. With that
Exactly.
said, are there any, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of just wonderful success stories. Are there any off the top of your head you can think of that were just really transformational that you witnessed just in these last couple of years that you've been doing this?
Absolutely. And it's hard to decide.
Yeah.
But there are a few that I would love to share. But one in particular, and just really it's because I have one of her products right next to me right now. So
Oh,
this is
cute.
one of her products. But Anne is a woman that I met. I actually met Anne in November last year, and she came to one of our trainings for sales and marketing for the first time. And in sales and marketing training, like what you're saying, Tara, we teach them skills that apply so much beyond the rose process, right? So these are tools that they can use in any business that they, or even if they become an employee of another company. And so Anne, her as an entrepreneur, it's so important that you have a big vision, right? And that you are passionate about making the vision come true. And that was one thing that really stood out to me about Anne, was that she wasn't just doing business to put food on the table, which many of our entrepreneurs are. But her vision was to have this impact in her community and give back to other people that come from extreme poverty. And so she was taking these fabrics were trash materials from a tailor, and she takes them and cuts them into nice shapes and irons them and then puts them together in patchwork pieces. And so she started doing this on her own. But then her vision is to have a workshop where she employs girls that are dropping out of school because of unplanned pregnancies, or they can't afford to finish their education, and otherwise would join gangs or steal or even go into prostitution. And so she's giving girls a chance to actually learn tangible skills, and learn business skills, because we've taught her business skills. And so to me, that is what it's all about, is finding like these entrepreneurs from extreme poverty that they're going to be change makers in their communities. She's going to be the reason why between 10 and hundreds of girls get the opportunity to escape extreme poverty. And so when we invest in a woman like that, we're having this multi-generational impact that's so important to our mission. And so Anne is recently she submitted an application for a grant, and for a $500 grant and a $1,000 loan to grow her business through COVID and beyond. And so she's one that we're really excited to invest in, actually probably next week.
Awesome. That's incredible. I love that about your organization, this idea of it being intergenerational. That it's just, this one person kind of takes on this thing, and then it just grows and grows and grows and impacts an entire community of people.
Mm-hmm.
That's outstanding.
And it's so true. And really, we've always had a focus on children's education, kind of as an indirect impact of what we do. And we've been really focused on actually supporting mothers to save for school fees, because it's in extreme poverty. It's so hard to say, I'm going to put money aside for my child's high school education, but I can't put food on the table today. And so we something that we do, and we're actually doing this training next month with this group of women. In our savings trainings, we put women in groups, and we say we're stronger together. We say this all the time, and we'll say pamoja tunaweza in Swahili. And the women just will chant it, they'll scream it. It's so much fun. And But it's so true, because when we form these savings groups of women like-minded, they're going through business training, they're
Mhm.
starting businesses with Rose. Some will sell food, some will sell fabric, some will be salonists and do
Mhm.
hair. And they form these groups, and that's their way of having insurance. That's their way of having community savings, so that if my child gets sick with malaria, I come to my group and say, I need a loan so that I can take my kid to the hospital. And so they put a little bit of money in every week or every month to save for those things. And so it's a beautiful thing to see how the community aspect
Yeah.
and how strong women are together. And when they are together, just it changes the lives of their children.
Yeah. Wow, that is incredible. So tell us too, I was thinking about we have, everything going on with COVID. I think we have this sort of idea of what's going on based on this very small area of the United States in which we live and how it's impacting us. Um, but could you tell us a little bit about the impact it's had on Rose and your programs, and namely the women entrepreneurs? Because I know that is probably of some concern. Do you have any updates?
Absolutely. Thank you for asking. And it looks very different, obviously, from the way that we're experiencing COVID in America. In places like Kenya, where in the capital city, 2.5 million people plus live in extreme poverty. So more than 60% of the population of the biggest city in Kenya. And so these are informal markets where people are selling vegetables or selling small products every day to put food on the table. And
Mhm.
so the government has put into place like a curfew between, you can't be outside of your house between 7, I think it's like 7 and 7, or 5 a.m. and 7 p.m. And so it's put restrictions on the hours of operations for women's businesses, but it's also put restrictions on moving between different city lines and different area lines. And so the women are very limited in where they can buy their products, where they can sell their products. And of course, the women and everyone in these communities, they're being told to wear masks, but many can't afford them. So one of actually, Anne, the entrepreneur I was talking about, she's one of the women that's making masks and selling them for an
Oh,
affordable price to the community.
okay.
And so that's an initiative that's going on. There's been a lot of just hygiene, general wash, so like water and sanitation initiatives from large NGOs coming in to just teach people how to wash their hands correctly, to give people hand washing stations, because in in the slum environment, overcrowding is such an issue. I mean, you'll have 10 people living in a 10 by 10 foot tin sheet hut. And
Wow.
so social distancing doesn't happen.
Right.
It's impossible. And so, and then these people have to move around every single day to put any kind of food on the table for their kids.
Mhm.
Um, Obviously, schools have been shut down. And so kids are really just free and running around
Yeah.
and playing. And it's going to be devastating to see the impact on children's education for
Yeah.
the poor, coming from Kenya and other developing countries in Africa and around the world. And so I've actually been working with different entrepreneurs on how to bring more education into the hands of some of these poor schools. Yeah, but in terms of Rose and COVID-19, our program, we usually have a very high touch in terms of how we train entrepreneurs. So walking through real life case studies and modules with them in person, that can't happen as much right now. So it's been a blessing in disguise, because it's been really beautiful to connect with women on Zoom.
Yeah.
We actually around this time last year, we started connecting with women in the slums of Nairobi using Zoom. And
Wow.
now we've trained 12 entrepreneurs that we're investing in this week on our whole grants and loans application process,
Wow.
on accountability measures, and they're learning things like Google Sheets and Google
Wow.
Docs and accessing technology that, if we were boots on the ground, we might not have been forced to introduce those things as soon.
Right.
So we have definitely shifted into a more virtual technology focused approach, which I think is great because it moves the needle in terms of what the women can achieve.
Yeah.
And then also we are highly focused on investing in women's businesses that are doing something innovative to
Mhm.
fight COVID-19. So, even we had 13 women that were running small businesses, and all of their businesses are completely shut down now because of market closures, because their products won't sell. People are only buying the bare necessities. And
Mhm.
so these women came together, formed a co-op, and are selling soap to small businesses now.
Wow.
And it's amazing what these women have been able to accomplish in a couple weeks, and putting together a full business plan, income projections, and so we definitely will be funding this soap project to give hygienic solutions and education
Mhm.
to the poorest communities in Kenya.
Wow.
So yeah, so those are some of the things that we're really focused on.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it must be disappointing, I'm sure, for them with just, like you said, like a lot of entrepreneurs are visionaries. You have this idea of just, what you want to do and who you want to become and timelines and things like that. But that is so incredible. It's such an example of just turning lemons to lemonade. It's like we've been handed this very terrible deck of cards, hand of cards. But you know
Yes.
what? It's okay. We're going to band together. They taught us how to do this. We're just going to take all of our knowledge and skill and put it together, and we'll do something else for a while. I think that's so resilient. It just shows their resilience.
That's a
That's so
great
incredible.
word to describe them. I mean, like I was shocked and impressed and amazed that some of these women making soap, they spent like $1.70, which is a lot of money for them, to get on a public transport and find bigger business customers. And I know
Wow.
that because they spent that $1.70 to find that customer so that in the long run they could make more money, they didn't eat that day.
Wow.
And, that's something that here living in America, growing up, in a nice home with everything I can possibly need,
Mhm.
it's hard to understand that, but that's resilience.
Yeah, because it's just, it's making the choices. It's choosing, like you said before, which children, if any, go to school and, eating or not eating. Like these are the realities, these are the choices that they're faced with every day that they're making every day, and it's just, it's causing them to just have this, yeah, like you said, like just this sense of just resilience and just to
Mhm.
keep going. Like that's the other thing too, like better together, but also just to keep going, to keep moving, to use all the tools that they've been given. That's so incredible. Is there anything um, that you would like people to know about Rose? Like things that you want the opportunity to say about Rose, about the women, or any other stories, like something that you'd really like to put out there to the women in this trunk show, or even just at large. What would you like us to know?
Well, I think, I mean, gosh, if I could think about this more, I'd probably come up with something different. I mean, this is my brainchild. This is my passion. This is my
Yeah.
everything. And so, I mean, I would like everyone to know everything about Rose. But um, one thing that I think is, to me, one of the most impactful things about my work and about since I started this, it's the people that I get to hire and the people that I get to work with every day that have really changed my life too, because we are employing women from poverty. And so we support women's businesses. That's like our main mission, right? So that they can overcome poverty. But women that stand out from those businesses and in those trainings, actually, we've said to them, will you come work for us? And so
Wow.
it's, to me, it is like the gift of a lifetime to be able to give a woman her first job description,
Yeah.
to be able to give a woman a paycheck of a couple $100 and her cry, to be able to tell a woman that she's going to have health insurance paid for by an employer, and she says, why? You don't have to do that for me. I said, yes, I
Aw.
do.
Aw.
And and then just to see that when you give these women, or if you give any woman, any person that didn't have an opportunity before, if you give them an opportunity, the potential is there and they're going to take it.
Mhm.
And I've just seen the two women specifically that I've employed full time now have just grown to just levels that I didn't even imagine.
Mhm.
I was telling you earlier, Tara, but one of the women one of my first employees, she was recently approached by Doctors Without Borders to partner with Rose, and to be a partner to provide education materials through our businesses and through our programs and to support women together.
Mhm.
And this is a woman that never would have known that she could form a partnership with an organization like that, and or that they
Wow.
cared. And it was
Yeah.
her leadership ability that grabbed them and their attention. And I'm just so proud to see how the capacity that has been built in these women, because we've put computers in their hands, because we've given them responsibility that they had to learn by making mistakes, and we were there to catch them every time.
Wow.
So, for me, that's part of the reason too why I just love living in Kenya, because I get
Yeah.
to walk the walk with them.
Right.
And I always say in every training and every even team meeting, this is a place to make mistakes because I'm making them every
Mhm.
day. And
Yeah.
so, but to see people reach their potential, I think
Mhm.
is something just so beautiful about Rose, that we're not just growing businesses, but we're growing people.
Yeah.
Um, and it's really cool.
That is an amazing answer. That is an awesome answer.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
I just I've seen this before in so many scenarios. When you take care of people,
Tara.
when you love them well, when you really care about people sincerely and care about their success and just help them from a sincere and authentic place, it is just amazing how God will use that. It's amazing, just how people will respond to that. Just like what you were saying about the woman receiving this check for more, the biggest check maybe she's ever seen or ever received, and can't believe, like, how did I even get here?
Yeah.
And just all the people along the way that have helped her and encouraged her, and on like the worst day told her to keep going, gave her
Yeah.
the tools she needed, and followed through on all the things that needed to happen, and just reaping the rewards of that and seeing the fruit of all of their work, getting really able to just step back and see like the fruitfulness of just
Right.
everything that they've sown, everything that's been invested in more ways than one, and not just monetarily,
Mm-hmm.
which makes it so even more amazing. So my last question, and also a very important question, is well, I guess it's a twofold question, is just how can people partner with you? And then obviously a follow-up would be, getting in touch with you, and I can post that too.
Sure.
But yeah, tell us a little bit about that.
Absolutely. So Rose is obviously a young organization. We're on a shoestring budget with a small staff. And so all the help that we can get in terms of volunteering your time to do marketing, to do fundraising, to do even we do so much data analysis of the women's businesses and strategy and operations around that. And so there's really a place for anyone to volunteer their time to work directly with me or with my staff in Kenya or with my board of directors. We all play a different role. And so if someone has the time, an hour a month, even, I mean, a couple hours a week, it all depends on your schedule. But if anyone wants to volunteer, we welcome that. And you can just reach out to me directly to arrange that. And then also being a financial partner. We need donors and we need sponsors. Our monthly donors keep our lights on. Our monthly donors keep us able to hire people like Esther, the woman that I was describing before. And we really want to hire another field worker. And just to be able to build more capacity of women in the slums. And so your donations go directly to them. Being a small organization, we only have a 10% overhead, and all of our donations go to the field.
Right.
So considering being a financial sponsor, considering donating your time, those are the main ways that I think people can get involved today.
Okay. Very good. Awesome. Thank you so much, Allie, for your time. And thank you for the work that you're doing and for starting this. You've changed so many women's lives, and sometimes it's just taking that big step of faith and following a dream and
Absolutely.
seeing the fruits of that and seeing what the Lord will do with that. So it's so good to hear all about Rose and all these amazing success stories. So thank you so much.